Welcome back to the Digital Directions podcast. We have a stellar guest today in Bryon, Westmoreland. Bryon, thank you so much for being here. And for those that don't know, Bryon's actually our inaugural winner of the Digital Directions putt-putt tournament.
We did it.
Congratulations. Was it the 18th or the 17th hole? You drained. No, it's great. Bryon, I'm so privileged to have you here today and be part of the Digital Directions company. You know, you've been here with us for coming up to 12 months now. What an amazing journey and what an amazing, I guess, career and experience you bring to Digital Directions, which to me is just amazing amount of value back to our customers. Please introduce yourself.
So first of all, thank you for having me. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you and Digital Directions, and my golf game is getting better every day, and I will continue to smash it.
I promise this is not becoming a golf podcast. I feel like all of our LinkedIn posts are golf related. Or maybe, no, we won't be becoming a golf podcast. Please introduce yourself. Sorry, Bryon.
Thank you. So I've been in technology for over 30 years now. It sounds crazy to say that, but I've been in it for a long time. When I first came out of uni and I did my master's in computer science there. My undergrad was in math, and so I've always been very focused on technology and science, and that's where my passion has been. So I came out on the job market looking for work, and it's funny. One of my first interviews was with Amazon up in Washington, and this was in the early days. This was around 1990, around there, and it was a weekend recruitment trip, and I remember walking in the offices, and they took us into where Jeff Bezos was located. What's funny is the entire offices, every desk was built from yellow page books stacked up with a door on top. And everyone's desk was like that, even Jeff Bezos. It's funny, they showed me a server that was in the middle of this most crowded room. And I said, "What is that?" And they go, "Oh, that's our payment processing server. They want it in the middle of the room so everyone has eyeballs on it." Anyways, I didn't end up working there. It was a great opportunity, but I had other ideas. I didn't want to get rained on in Washington for the rest of my life. So I went out and worked with another great company, and I got to work with amazing clients. So I worked with Apple for a number of years and Hewlett-Packard before moving over to Australia. Then I came here and continued to work in technology. Eventually, I found my place. It wasn't a software engineer. I was better in that space between technology and business. That's kind of where I found my sweet spot because I like people, but I also love technology. I ended up becoming the CEO of a SaaS company called Communicate. And we went on to partner with one of the world's largest consulting companies, partnering with them globally, and it's going really well. I did that for about 7 years, and then I started traveling, and then I heard from you one day, and you mentioned what you're doing, and I've always had a lot of respect for you, particularly around business, and I think your maturity there. And I thought, this is great. It's a great opportunity to work with a lot of young, smart people. And that's always been my passion. Is I like to work with people, preferably who are smarter than me. That's always a good thing. But with all these young, bright, energetic minds, and I could see that Digital Directions was going in that direction. And I felt I could bring a bit of that maturity that maybe others wouldn't have. And it seemed like a good fit. So it's really worked out well.
It's been a great fit, and how quickly 12 months has flown by with your involvement with the business. So it's been an incredible journey of maturing our processes and offering such a strong solution in market for our SME customers. We're going to dive into, I think you touched on a really great point around the smart people in the room that we have. And over the last 12 months, you've built out an incredible team. We now have 3 technology specialists who support our customers specifically in the capacity of integrations. So we're going to dive in today all about the world of integrations, ensuring that customers and the SMEs that we're working with have really streamlined and connected systems. But because particularly who we work really well with, that 100 to 1,000 employee size business, they don't just have some big Workday or SAP solution where it's one product for the entire organization across all these different functions. A lot of the time we're working with businesses who have 3, 4, 5 different HR solutions all kind of working together, or maybe not working so well together. And I'm sure we've got a lot of kind of stories to get through today around where it wasn't working well. But how do we ensure that our customers have technology that play nice, get the most out of kind of automation and efficiency gains there? But for us, how do we build the best in class solution when we talk about system integrations? What does system integrations mean here at Digital Directions?
Sure. So I just want to kind of reiterate your point. I think it's a really good one. Is there's a lot of organizations in this SME space that have a lot of fragmented systems they're using. mean, there's so many great SaaS products out there to choose from, and they're really good at what they do, but they're very specialized, and they don't communicate well with each other.
Mm.
Some integrate and talk to each other, but it's not at the level that they require.
A lot of our SME customers, are signing up to these specialized tools with the hope and dream that they have an integration with this other tool. And we're seeing a bit of an explosion from my perspective. And, we work with over 35 different technology vendors here in Australia. And from what I've seen over the last 12 months, a bit of an explosion of what is positioned as an out-of-the-box integration. And I think we've had a lot of customers experience the pain that actually comes with out-of-the-box. And
Yes.
from a pre-sales perspective, when looking at these solutions, out-of-the-box sounds fantastic, but it doesn't always deliver what is required in an integration. It's not always a really valuable exercise. Is it one way? Is it two way? And I think the most important thing about our conversation today is, what are you trying to achieve in an integration and what's unique about your business? We've worked with dozens of different integration projects the last few months where every single one is so different. We want to ensure the integrations we build are unique to the business's needs, their workflows, and how they kind of manage people data. So 12 months ago, we came to this decision that we're going to go down this path and explore a solution for our customers who need to ensure a really robust integration between their different HR tech stack. Talk to me about 12 months ago, what the decision was that we needed to make and how we came about building our own technology solution.
Sure. We got to back up a little bit before I start. As you know, when I came on board, I was building a SaaS product for 7 years with Communicate, and that was kind of where my mind went immediately. So we explored this a bit further. I got to understand your clients' needs and what their requirements would be. And I realized that probably wasn't the best path to take. We have some competitors in the market that do have this kind of offering, but we see the challenges they face. We've heard from clients that have worked with them previously. It's very difficult to build an all-encompassing solution that can adapt to all those special little requirements and needs the client have. If you think about it, these products take years to develop, and iterating on those and making changes to a SaaS product takes quite a bit of effort and time. Not to
And
mention investment, time, testing, all of that. And in the end, you just cannot build something that's going to meet everyone's needs. Just like all these products, these suite of tools that companies are using, they're really good for 80 or 90% of the job, but they can't do everything. So I kind of steered away from that product approach. And then that's what led us down the path of an iPaaS, which is an integration platform as a service. Think of it as a workbench where you can go in and you can build your integration, but all that deep plumbing, all the hard work, all that really deep technical work is done for you. And it's done by experts. People are the best in the world at building these systems. And so it gives us a platform to work from. And it's really great because it gets you part of the way, but you can very quickly move through the rest of the set of requirements and building a solution for that client. The other aspect of it, I think, was building a really solid team that could work in this environment as well. And that was, I think, a learning process, identifying what was the ideal candidate. And I think we have a really strong team now, very intelligent, really creative people that love to build great solutions for our clients. So yes, the iPaaS solution was the one we took. And in the end, we ended up settling on Workato. There are other tools, I guess, for the audience that aren't familiar with this. You have tools like Zapier and Make.
Yeah.
Those are more for your small companies or businesses or individuals who want some form of automation, but it doesn't really bring together what you really need for an enterprise client.
Talk to me about kind of the key differences that you see in a Workato solution, which is, I guess, positioned in market as an enterprise grade iPaaS or automation tool compared to a Zapier. I know there's a couple of others out there that we investigated and reviewed. What if I'm a customer who's only got 100 employees? I wouldn't really position myself as an enterprise kind of organization. Do I really need an enterprise grade solution like Workato? This is naturally a question we get asked very often. Why did Digital Directions go down the path of choosing Workato as their iPaaS technology?
Well, I think regardless of the size of the company, whether 50 people or 1,000 people, they all have that same requirement in terms of security and compliance. No matter how big the organization is, really, you kind of have to have that right out of the gates as a company. And we see it in this environment today with the level of security threats that every company faces.
Mm,
And what comes with that is a higher level of compliance that companies need to meet.
mm,
Those other tools just don't, they're just not in that field. They just can't deliver
mm,
in terms around security and compliance and good governance and um, the stability and robustness of the product. They
mm,
just don't have that capability. Now, there are other tools out there, for example, like Boomi and some of those others. But the more we dug and the more we looked at it,
mm.
we just kept coming back to Ocado.
And I think something that really stuck for me um, around kind of feature and functionality that is aligned to enterprise grade, it was about our customers getting the most valuable solution still at a great cost perspective. So they just because they're an organization of 100 employees doesn't mean they should go and get the cheapest solution to do the integrations. We really doubled down our investment in Wakato as a technology that we provide as the minimum standard and the only solution we use because we fundamentally believe in its features and its capability to service our entire audience and our entire customer base. Talk to me about some of those really important features that a Wakato might have compared to a Zapier. Because if I'm from the outside and I've had to come on a really kind of rapid learning journey myself as a business owner to make that investment in Wakato compared to other solutions in market, what are some of the things that we should be looking for? Why Wakato? It sounds like it's got that stability, the robustness and flexibility of being able to work to different integration requirements, the security and governance. What about some like key kind of features?
Ocado provide a lot of great features that make it really easy to build integrations. But there's a lot of features that are just a must-have for the type of work we're doing to meet our clients' expectations. We're building integrations that are business critical integrations. We're connecting, for example, their HR platform to their payroll system. We can't allow for any mistakes. And we need a platform that gives us the support, I guess, the capability that if we do have a problem, we can always recover from it, or the client can recover from it. So I'll give you an example. If we build a solution, something goes wrong.
Hmm.
Workato has the capability to replay those actions or those tasks that occurred, and nothing is lost. There's no loss of data that flowed from one system to the other. It's really great for that aspect. In terms of development, Workato follows the software development process, which is usually build in one environment, you test in another one, and then you put it in the live world in another environment. And in software development, that's usually development, testing, and production. And Workato provides that environment out of the box where we can build, we can take our work and promote it to the next level where our clients can test it, we can test it in a very safe environment,
Mm,
and then we can promote it to the production. And while that integration is running in the production environment, at the same time, we can be back in the development environment, working on the next iteration or a change or a fix or developing the next solution that they need or whatever. And we're able to effortlessly work on that and then promote that again through those stages of production with no downtime.
mm,
Um, if there is ever an issue, like a network issue, or let's just say things go bad on the internet,
mm,
none of that information is lost. So if an employee is in their HR platform, let's say updating their banking details, and something goes wrong, that won't be lost. That employee's data that they entered will flow through the integration and get to the payroll system.
some
So
guaranteed delivery.
guaranteed delivery, exactly.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of great tools that make our development life a lot easier. A lot of like versioning of the work we do, ability to roll things back, the ability to see the variances in what we're building and where things have changed, what we need to improve. There's great role-based access permissioning
Mm,
so that we can build a solution for a client and it will remain isolated from anything else they build in Workato. Workato isn't just a platform that we're developing on to do this one solution for a client. They get access to that platform so they can go and maybe open it up to other people in their business that might have the capability to build
mm,
integrations for other aspects of the business, maybe integrations that aren't as business critical
mm.
or as critical, but they can develop that in isolation from what we've built. So what our work is safe, it's protected. The employee can go on and build something else that's amazing that they can leverage within the organization.
For me, something that I see a lot of value in for our customers is not just the line of sight of we're just working on this one project. of course, we want to really be able to provide a successful transformation or an integration project that is, in this example, you touched on connecting a new HRS system to a new payroll system or an existing payroll system. But the landscape for us is so much beyond that. Something that I love about Workato is their connector library, where they've got thousands upon thousands of different SaaS solutions that they work with, that we can go, let's go and nail a really robust integration between HR and payroll, but then go, what does your tech stack look like beyond that? How can we add a lot more value to your automation and integration so you're handling systems less, you're creating more opportunity for one source of truth, you're mitigating compliance risks in terms of handling multiple systems and data entry and things like that. So I think the Workato solution provides so much more than a robust enterprise grade solution between HR and payroll. For us, it's what is the next 10 years of ensuring stability and automation across their entire ecosystem of tools they use, particularly for our SME clients who, from what we're seeing, as I mentioned earlier, I'd say the vast majority have between 4 to 6 different HR tech that they're using as specialist tools, whether that's recruitment or employee listening and engagement, performance management. They all seem to be these individual tools that need to ensure they're talking to each other for a source of truth, and also minimizing how much we're double touching those systems.
Yes, and the source of truth is a big point here. It's a big key. This relates to security and compliance and good governance, is you really don't want a lot of information sitting in different silos around the organization. You prefer there to be one source of truth, ideally, and that you're pushing that information off to other systems. And that's one of the pain points our customers feel, is they often have these siloed systems that aren't talking to each other. And as you said, it requires a lot of double touching of data, which is never a good thing. Workato's really strong in the area of security, compliance, governance. Another feature as I love is they do provide geographic isolation of data. So if we have a customer in Singapore that wants their data to stay there, they can, or in the UK or Malaysia or Australia, New Zealand, wherever we choose to work with them.
And obviously the people data is such a big thing we work on with all of our customers. And it's also a really big talking point in kind of the HR technology world is, where does your data centers, where's our data going to exist? What are you going to do with our data? What's the type of data that you're handling? It's a conversation we're having every single day. So it's great to hear that our solution has, that capability to isolate where their data exists based on what the client's needs and requirements are. Of course, we're working with multinational organizations who need their data across multiple different locations. But to me, that sounds really, really rich in terms of features. Something I wanted to change tack a little bit, and potentially just take a step back and put ourselves in the mind of an organization who is using multiple different point solutions currently. Maybe they've got a couple hundred employees, and they're finding themselves, when it comes to pay time, or just even on a monthly basis, they're spending dozens and dozens of hours double handling solutions. Let's kind of articulate the problem that the vast majority of our customers have when they come to us with, hey, we're handling heaps of different solutions. We don't know which one's a source of truth. It could be this spreadsheet over here, or it could be that HR system. Payroll thinks it's the payroll system. What does the current state look like?
Disconnected systems obviously leads to double touching of data. And that's one of the biggest problems. And with that comes issues with accuracy mistakes, which can lead to a whole host of other problems for our client. So that's one of the big concerns immediately. Also, what comes with that is wasted time and effort. You're taking valuable time away from an employee where you should be leveraging their talents and time for other things, not for copying data from one system into another. Another problem is scalability. A lot of the companies we're working with are growing rapidly. And as they're growing, their processes aren't scaling to meet those needs. And our integrations, do quite well at allowing them to focus on what's important and spend less time on these other tasks. And I think lastly, it's the employee experience. You want an employee ideally to go into one system, work in that, and get out. Not have to go here and then go there. And, in my last role, our solution kind of focused on that as well. And it was a very common problem. It's really bad for, I think, employee experience and I think morale. Employees just want to go in and do their job. They want to do what they're good at. They don't want to spend time going into all these other systems. This is why you have change management programs and everything else, because these employees feel this pain. And that's what our integration focuses on.
Totally. I think something to add to that was when you mention a whole host of other problems, one of those, which to me is very important in the way of our working with customers, is around compliance risk. And it's quite incredible how many of our organizations are doing the wrong thing when it comes to handling people data. And a great example there would be, people are leveraging one system to put in their updated information, whether that's here's some new emergency contacts or here's some new banking information, and then relying on the internal finance or people team to move that data around on their behalf, which naturally is a big no-no. It should be doing that for them by way of technology or that employee doing it. So we're finding that there's a lot of compliance risk associated to double touching systems on behalf of the employee as well. And so I think for us, it's underpinned or a minimum requirement to ensure that technology that organizations are using is above the board, and it is going to ensure that, when it comes to audit time, that they are doing the right thing by legislation and the compliance requirements that they need to follow.
That's exactly right. And I think also you want to really limit the eyeballs on that data. Some of this is really, it's very sensitive information that employees are sharing. It's kind of required of them to enter, but really the more you open this information to other people, the more it highlights risk. And that risk could be many. It can be security risk. It can be like you've mentioned, compliance issues. It can be risk in relation to how well is that data managed and how well is it protected.
I think another thing why it's so important to really understand the challenge is a great example is we're working with an organization, mid-tier finance accounting firm, and their partners, their senior leaders didn't even realize how much of a problem this was with disconnected technology. And it was amazing to see the articulation from the finance manager to talk to how much time they're actually spending double touching systems and not being a valuable resource back to the organization in what their skill set is. They're a very senior finance leader, double touching and doing data entry. And it was shocking to the partner to understand how much time per month they're spending to make manual adjustments, reconciliation, to ensure that all the different tools they use is a source of truth. And even at that end of month period, they're still saying, but I'm not 100% sure that all of this is accurate. And so I think a good point around a lot of the challenge we're experiencing is this is typically at the layer of someone who is doing that work, not necessarily the executives or the leadership team who actually understand quite, I guess, how broad or how impactful that problem can be.
Back to the very first point you made there around compliance. When an organization usually undergoes a process of becoming compliant, let's say in some compliance framework, let's say something like SOC 2 or ISO 27001, one of the first things these external companies come into is they come in and they evaluate what they're doing and they look at every level of the organization. And the further down they go is where they get the really good information, where they see what's really happening. And that gets reported back up the chain. And it's always a surprise to senior leadership when they hear these things because no one has the time. And I think some of those employees are actually on the front line doing the work. They don't have the time to go back up and say, well, this is what I'm doing, or they don't feel empowered to or unsure about it. So I think, yes, it doesn't surprise me that it's surprising them. The important thing to remember here is you want to empower your people to do the things they're best at. Like I said, it's their talent and time. You want to leverage that as most as you can, and you don't want them fighting against a process or a system or a technology that's really hindering them from being able to focus their time and energy in that place. So I think that's really fundamentally, that's the main reason, is you really want your people to be able to do their job and do it well without being hindered with all these other tasks that not only takes their time, but introduces risk to the organization.
I think you've articulated that really well, Brian, for us to then lead into talking about our solution and how we kind of solve that challenge. And for me, it's how do we get technology to work with us to enable our team and our workforce to be more strategic in the way of how they leverage people data in this example, but also giving them more time back. We had a great statistic from you last week at our end of week call to our entire team, just so everyone at Digital Directions knows the type of value we're bringing back to our customers. Tell us what that quote was. What is the integration
Yeah.
solution able to do for our organizations?
We did some analysis, and one of my employees is a data scientist. He was very helpful in this manner to have a look at the Workato job history, jobs that have flown through the system, and we looked at years worth of data that had flowed through, and we did an estimate, and a very conservative estimate of how much time is spent or how much time we saved an organization in all of these menial tasks we're talking about. And it came out to about 800 hours over a 1 year period. And that's for an organization was of 100 employees. Imagine an organization of 1,000 employees, how that would scale up from there. And that, I think, it worked out to about the salary you'd pay an employee for a year that we saved them just by introducing this one solution for them.
And I think for me, that really speaks to how technology can enable and give time, real time back. This is that return on investment piece to streamline a process or look at an area of opportunity, which would be disconnected technology, make a significant improvement in the way of connecting them and ensuring that they're integrated in a really robust way. This is not some one way out of the box where it's just capturing first name and last name. It is really enabling, I guess, that data aspect and pushing it between the different systems. But to save back an organization 800 hours worth of admin time is massive. For us, that's enabling a finance leader to be a lot more strategic and do what they're meant to be in that organization to do.
Yeah.
So really, the benefits do exist.
And often those hours are hours taken away from someone's weekend where they could be with their family member because they still have to do their day job, but they still have to do this other work. And so it gives a lot of time back to them. And I think this points back again to, I think, just the morale of the organization. It's great that maybe a finance person can have their weekend off and they can also go to bed at night and feel comfortable that things are getting done.
What are some other key benefits around leveraging a connected ecosystem of technology through our integration solution?
I think some of the benefits beyond what we've touched on is, we're in an environment where talent, it's like a war for talent. You want to find good people, but you really want to retain them.
Mm.
You want to make sure those people are paid on time and accurately. You want to make sure those people are getting up and starting their day and feeling like they're empowered to do the job that they were hired to do. They're not being weighed down with other tasks. And I think just the general focus is shifting away from technology and being more focused on the business, the core business, are like massive benefits to an organization.
Mm.
We've seen that. And one of the things I love about this job is you do get really close with these people and you spend a lot of time working with them, whether it's on the HR side or the finance side or somewhere else. And it's great to build these relationships with them. And when you first turn this on and they start to see information flow through, you can just see it. They're like, wow, this is amazing. And it's a great moment. And, I was speaking to some of my staff the other day and you and I both we were asking, what drives you? What motivates you to do this job? And it was really great to hear that most of them, it was to see these clients, see their needs met and see how happy they were with the solution we built for them.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get more into the team. I'm super proud of the integration team that you're building for Digital Directions. It's been such a fun journey. You said it really nicely at the beginning. It takes a special person to be the integration specialist because it's not traditional developer or something else. It's a really nice hybrid in between. So I'm excited to get into that. But just to kind of round out the point on some of the benefits and unlocking a better employee experience, something you highlighted there is really important to me and what we've seen working with our customers is just a much more simple approach to onboarding and hiring new people, giving them that world-class experience that everyone wants. When we use our consumer apps, whether it's our banking or our phone apps, it's so simple and seamless to utilize, except when you come to a new organization, for some reason, it's such a challenge that you need to put all your information into 5 different systems before you're even set up. And I think, the first month onboarding into a new organization has traditionally been quite overwhelming. And that's their first kind of experience inside your business. And you want to ensure that that's something that is really easy for them to do. It's really an enjoyable process, and sets them up for success. So I think you make a great point around kind of the warfare for talent and how creating a great employee experience through greater onboarding, more connected ecosystem of technology is such a simple thing that organizations should look at doing
Mm.
to create a much more, I guess, quality process for their new employees.
Yeah, it's very overwhelming for a new employee when they're coming on board.
Mm,
They have a lot of information to kind of take in and dig through and read through, and there's so many things they have to do. And if you can limit them from having to do one more step or go into one more system to read the help manual in the system or whatever it may be, if we can keep them away from that, then that's a win.
mm,
And yeah, and that's one of the, HRIS systems are built to develop great onboarding, great employee experiences. And if we can keep them out of this other system that's maybe a little more challenging, where maybe a finance person can thrive, but for a regular employee, it's quite overwhelming,
mm.
then that's a great thing.
Totally. Well, let's shift gears into where's Digital Directions at today. We've been in market offering this integration solution for the last 12 months. We believe we've built out a world-class team to deliver these projects. We've spent over 12 months in R&D alone, just figuring out the integration solution, what exists in market, should we build our own product? Why do you believe that Digital Directions has the best integration solution in market today? What stands us out?
We have a really good team of very energetic, bright people who are always looking to innovate, and that I think that mentality, that culture of innovating and improving and making our solution the best it can be has been fundamental to what we have today. And we've taken a very careful, rigorous I suppose, process that we've followed through this build, where we've really focused on what the problem is for the customer first and foremost, and then we've built solutions to meet those needs. And I think that coupled with the environment of Workato we're able to work in, all of that has kind of allowed us to build a solution that I think it is best in market. Our initial offering is expanded; it's expanding every day. We are developing a more robust solution. And so what we have today is a product that is maturing and growing because we listen to our customers' needs. We take their feedback. We're able to improve upon what we've built for them. Again, that comes back to the way we've, I think, architected our design and also leveraging Workato enables us to have an ongoing relationship with our customers where we're improving things and making it better. We come out with a new feature and we'll go back to our clients and say, would you like this? We can do this. And they're always happy. They always welcome it with open arms, and we can, I think, lighten their load and make their workday a bit better. So we have a solution that is continuing to mature and grow. And I think in terms of what's on the market, um, I would hard to say anyone's doing it better right now.
It honestly has been such an amazing journey to watch that growth in our team, the innovation that we provided to our solution. We're so excited. We're truly seeing the value we're delivering for our customers. But for someone new out there, maybe hearing this podcast or thinking about integrations or feeling, I guess, kind of the challenge right now of double touching systems, integration, the words APIs, and if you're not a technologist like yourself,
Mm,
even for me at the very beginning, it's quite a daunting thing. You've
mm,
had so many people or customers and experiences that have gone very poorly when it comes to integrations. It doesn't deliver what they want. Something breaks. You put something in over here and it doesn't work over there. We literally had a conversation with a client yesterday who was saying, this integration is just not working for us, even though they promised to do X, Y, Z. And so I think it is a really challenging thing. How do we look to simplify what integration does? And I think, our solution through Workato does a lot of that by just being hyper specific in the requirements and the solution we're building. But how would you simplify it for a customer when they hear integration or APIs? Is it one way or two way? How do we make it easier for them to hear that?
yeah. Well, first of all, there's that hurdle of the word integration. That's a bit scary when an organization hears that. Because the last thing an organization wants to see is their name on the front paper of a newspaper, right? We've all seen that in the past, or we've seen failed integration projects that where they come in and they offer the world and it just doesn't happen, or it's a repeating cycle, billable hours until they strap something together for them. So we have to get past that word. I think the other thing is we've done this so many times and we're very focused. We spend a lot of time up front, really understanding their needs, uh, answering their questions, and just really explaining the solution in detail. I think the other thing is in the room, there's usually an HR person, a finance person, IT person, and we can speak to all of their individual concerns. The IT person is going to be security, obviously, but it's going to be, is this another thing I've got to manage in my job? I don't want to do that. And so we kind of talk to them about that. The finance person, they want to know someone can speak their language that understands what they're even talking about. And on the HR side, that we understand their pain points and what their employees are going through. So we address all of those concerns up front. And then we spend quite a bit of time really digging into what their specific needs are, and we cover off all the details. Because with integration, it's the smallest little detail can become a big problem later. And we have the experience behind us that we've already had these problems before. We've already dealt with them, and we're proactively, I think, putting that forward to the client ahead of time before they even ask the question. And I think that builds a lot of confidence. And I think our team, we bring a lot of confidence to the room when we're speaking to these clients. When you're talking to them in their language, and I think addressing their concerns up front
Mm.
before they've even addressed them, then it's very powerful.
And like you mentioned, we've done this such a number of times now that we know what success looks like. We know what that looks like on the other side. Because the word integration and APIs, when you look at two systems connecting to each other, there's endless opportunity there. But we're not trying to integrate and achieve every single thing. Our specialty is high volume task and ensuring that we're minimizing as much administration burden as possible by being hyper specific on this will save you a bunch of time. And this to us is what a really great integration solution looks like. How can we then improve upon that over the next 12, 24 months working together? So I think that also presents a really unique perspective of how we work with customers in the Australian, New Zealand market.
Yeah, and also we don't just leave and disappear when we're done. We're with them for their journey onwards, and we ideally want to keep them and we want to grow with them. And quite frankly, we enjoy working with them. So we try to stay around and address those needs and grow with them. We provide training, we provide support. We have a team that's local, where you're actually dealing with people in your same time zone, and they're all professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. So I think for us, it's about building that relationship with them and always being there with them. And,
Hmm.
when they have a concern, they know they can give us a call. Just last week, I was getting phone calls from someone on my mobile phone. I was like, who's this? Who's calling now? And then, yeah, I kind of enjoy that. And when you put a sense of calm, you can give them that sense of calm to tell them, yeah, I'm here. I got this. Everything's good.
Yeah.
And explain it to them.
A true
It's
partner.
great. Yeah.
We're not just a technology solution. We're a partner that want to understand your unique needs as a business and how we can help support you through this transformation project. Um, I want to talk a little bit about, naturally as a podcast and as an organization for Digital Directions, the intersection between HR and technology. We spent quite a bit of time in our conversation today talking about the technology side, the Wicado, the challenges SMEs are facing, how our solution helps solves that and really provides real tangible return on investment. But talk to me about the HR side. Naturally, we're people first. We understand that our people are our greatest assets. And for us at Digital Directions, that is so true. We believe we have truly the best in class or in market solution when it comes to integration because of our people. What is the culture of Digital Directions? What is the team you're trying to build? Because the Digital Directions integration rocket ship is, we're barely taking off. We're about to go into space. What does that mean for you having this kind of task to go out and build a world-class, high-performing team?
So I think in building a world-class integration team, it all starts with the people, obviously. And one of the things we really focus on is a good fit, good cultural fit. I think it's a credit to you, Jack. You built an organization with a great culture, and everyone. What I love about it's a very much a team-driven environment. where we all come in, no one, works in their little space and says, well, I've got this, you need to handle this. It's not like that at all.
Mm,
Everyone's pulling together, whether it's whichever the three pillars of the business, everyone works closely together.
mm.
We want people that want to like roll their sleeves up, get in, do the job, learn together, work together, suffer a little bit together,
Innovate together.
innovate together. And that's really important to us. And I think we've done a very good job at that.
Mm,
Of course, there's other aspects we have to look at. We're dealing with very sensitive customer data. We want to make sure that we have very responsible people. They go through a rigorous screening, background checks, and all that sort of thing, obviously, and technical capabilities. But yeah, cultural fit is really important. And we want to make sure that when they're in front of a client, they represent digital directions well. So that's very
totally. I think you made a great point, and something, you've done an exceptional job leading the function. I think a lot of other leaders can get caught up that their leadership and delegate the tasks. And I think naturally there is a time and a place for that. But for us, being people first, for me, what that means is anyone can come to the conversation and have an idea. And we've seen some of our incredible integration specialists just come to us and go, "Hey, Bryon, I think there's a better way to do this. Do you mind if I have a go at coming up with a different solution?" And you've been so enabling and freeing for your team to come back and go, "Here's this challenge that we're trying to solve. Leave it with us and we'll come back to you with an idea." We're starting to put together these little hackathon sprints where we give them a challenge based on client feedback or areas that we can improve our solution within the integration space. And we put together a little team challenge and an initiative. And it's fun to watch them really rally together to come up with brilliant ideas or different ways of solving problems where even over a really short period of time, I think the last one was a 2-week period, and they absolutely nailed it out of the park. But just to see the excitement that they had completed it and they came up with a brilliant idea and presented it back to you and I, it was awesome to see, and I really got caught up in that kind of energy and excitement of solving a big problem. And I think it's so important coming back to that point around culture that we're trying to build for our integration team is absolutely there's some really important work that we're doing with our customers to ensure we're building world-class, robust, and secure integrations, but we're also having fun with it. There's a lot of energy and excitement within this particular team, and it's awesome to see that energy also be rolled out across the wider business where everyone in the implementation and project management team or in the advisory side really just getting around each other and congratulating them on smashing this hackathon out of the park. And I think it's a testament to you and the culture you're building within the integration team as well. And it's such an exciting space for us, and it'll be interesting to see how that grows from a team of 4 to the team of 12 potentially by this time next year, which is a bit crazy to say out loud. But as we come to kind of wrap up this conversation today, one thing that I really want to highlight and touch on is a little bit of a bit of value back to our audience listening to this podcast today is around some of the success stories. What can they look forward to hearing about? What are some recent projects that we've done that has just really transformed the way organizations operate with connected technology?
Yeah, sure. Look, over the last 6 months, we've probably done about 15 transformational projects. They've all been very successful. It's been fantastic to be a part of that. Just a few that come to mind. We've worked with a technology company. It's a very innovative, young and growing technology company, growing very fast. And they had specific needs that we were able to meet. That's one that we've saved them an estimated 800 hours of time. Another one is a mid-tier accounting company of similar size, maybe a bit larger. I think we've saved them probably easily 1,400 hours in time. And I know that I throw these numbers out, and it's maybe you could be a bit skeptical, but these are conservative figures. And those projects in particular were just great to be a part of, and the team really enjoyed it. And we're working with these dynamic companies, and it's just really fun to be a part of.
It's always that moment of, like you said, when we turn it on, that aha moment of, wow, this actually works. It does the thing you promised us a few weeks ago.
I had one client say, "It's actually working." I said, "Yeah, of course it's working. That's
Yeah,
what we're here for."
exactly. And it's those little moments of, how 800, 1,400 hours of admin time saved over a 12-month period is absolutely huge. That's clear ROI. It's something tangible. But just that moment of, wow, this is working. This is going to save me time at the upfront of going live and taking them through that process and making sure it is unique to what their unique requirements are, not just some blanket, let's connect the two systems.
Yeah.
It's such a feel-good moment for the work that we're doing, impacting people leaders and finance leaders.
We care about our customers, and it's really important to us. And we understand for some of these people that maybe not exactly, but you'd say their job's on the line. They're running a big project through with a big budget. They've put their necks on the line. They want to know that we're there with them every step of the way.
Look, it's been a wonderful conversation, Bryon. I really appreciate you being here. Something for our listeners that we're offering today is a complimentary HR integration health check. Feel free to book in a session today where we'll spend 30 minutes with you. No agenda, no fluff. Bryon and I will just spend a bit of time to understand what your current ecosystem of technology looks like and provide some insight into areas of opportunity as to different integration solutions that could really enrich and add some time back into your pockets. Feel free to hit the link below and book in your complimentary session today. But Bryon, it's been wonderful having you on the Digital Directions podcast. It's even better to have you back home in Brisbane and being able to come to coffees with meetings, to our customer meetings, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, it's been great being here. It's my first podcast, so thank you. Thank you for working with me.
No worries. Thanks, Bryon.